live from the beautiful island of Maui, Hawaii. This is sort of like a Maui fix, but with an amazing twist. And I think a story that if you haven't heard it yet, you need to hear this one. Because it's people like this that really inspire a level of belief in human beings that you just don't hear about stories like this, and they should be so well known. Stories like this should be so well known, but they're not. You have to look in the nicks and the crannies, and you have to get into the weeds, and you have to care. But when you hear about a story like this, it will move your heart, I believe, and you will think to yourself, if you think you're having a bad day, or if you think you have challenges in your life, think again, because you're about to learn about my buddy Daniel, who is now back. He's here in this house that was just provided by FEMA. So he has a home in FEMA. Now what's interesting about Daniel is he is completely 100% blind. He cannot see anything. And he wasn't always that way. He lost his sight through a series of really interesting, mysterious events that I think should be on every news channel and every investigative report show in the world. But it hasn't made it there yet, but I believe it will someday. So he just arrived about a day and a half ago. We just went and got him supplied with what we could at Costco and Target. And he's gonna say a few words to you guys. I will put a link in the description to his GoFundMe. He was on the channel before the fire. I was already talking about Blind Daniel and trying to garner support for him way before the fire. But I won't tell the rest of his story, but I'm so excited. We've been thinking about, praying about, and believing that this day would come, and it miraculously has. So let's get in there and check out Mr. Daniel. I don't like to call him Blind Daniel because, but here we go. Are you guys excited? Look at this nice little beautiful yard he has, huh? As you saw, the sunset is just happening. And let's say, look at this nice little sign. Welcome to our home by the shore. The door magically opened.
All right, we got guests.
Hey, Daniel.
I know that voice.
How's it?
That's the voice of the most aloha-infused channel there is.
Good to see you, my
Eric
brother.
West.
Good to see you, my brother.
Thank you so much for arriving and the special delivery from you and Lisa. God bless you and your audience, and thank you so much for including me. I'm so glad to be a part of the channel today.
Hey, we are so glad that you are back on Maui. I feel like it's a miracle that has happened, and the fact that you have a home here that was provided by FEMA because of your front street apartment was completely and utterly destroyed.
Oh, wow.
And the fact that you made it here and crossed the country by yourself is just really amazing, man. So I'm so thankful, and I'm so just like in awe. I'm in shock and awe that this has taken place. I know it's something that you've been waiting for a long time, and I know it took a lot of courage and guts and coordination when you can't even see what your phone has on it, and somehow miraculously you did it. So do you mind, can we sit down on the couch a little bit and you can tell us your story a little bit?
Please, make yourself placed wherever it is. I'm still learning my way around here, and I'll tell you, I've battled a couple of conditions, and just to get a hug from you and to hear that little intro there you said reminded me of so much that myself and everyone in Lahaina has gone through since the fire, and kind of gave me a kind of a scare in a way of like, wow, because it was like smiles, and then really like part of it is just like the recovery process, and in a way it's kind of made it possible for this place to even be opened up. And it's a coincidence that you've known that this area and houses in this neighborhood. And things
I actually sold this house about 7 years ago, which is crazy. That's amazing. You're actually in a house that I sold.
What an affirmation.
It's crazy.
So
like
I'll
you
take
couldn't plan that, or you know what I'm saying? That's some kind of synchronicity that we won't understand until the next life. But it is an affirmation of
Call it a
something.
God now.
So what I'm gonna do, Dan, is I'm gonna turn the camera right now back. Oh boy, hang on a second. I'm gonna keep it where it is. Okay, here we go. So I'm just gonna sit next to you, interview style a little bit. So I'm just holding the camera right in front, and I'm right next to you, so we're both in frame. So I'm just gonna ask you a few questions. That way you're also closer to the microphone. So for those people that are just kind of new to Daniel's story. Obviously, a lot of you, the audience, the most aloha infused audience on planet Earth, came to the channel right after the fire. But Daniel was on the channel way before that because of some crazy circumstances that happened. And I don't know how much detail we want to go into, but maybe just get them caught up a little bit on your history, and that you weren't always blind, that you literally lost your sight just a few short years ago.
Well, I don't remember and had to catch up from a lot of what it is I forgot, but it's been 4 years of learning how to navigate the world blind. And some of the most devastating things where I was putting my thumb out, hitchhiking for God to come take me off of this earth, and now I'm happy to be here. Support from Eric and strangers, and a huge thank you to each and every one of you that's tuned into the story and do remember the little details. But I've gone through home sales and evictions and learning to be a lawyer, the the homeless person, nonprofits, asking for a handout in one hand while receiving with the other, and feeling ashamed and being needy and having to get comfortable with discomfort, and practices in life helping with my coordination. And you hear me these days, and I may be able to respond to the question appropriately, and I may look like I have a level of comfort, which has come from a long bit of practice and doing things in order and trying to build strength and do things repetitively. And God bless USA and America for having the ability for people to pull together and set up, design in order to help people in need. Because I'm not the only one that's been through one of the most difficult things imaginable with types of losses that are irreparable. And you know, there's a lot of inspiration, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't felt that inspiration in the beginning of whatever I went through. You know, Eric's come out, and from the time in Lahaina, whenever I lived there since 2005, and it was a series of other little miracles that even got him in tune with a friend of mine, Josh, and those two linked up together and started making moves in my behalf, and everything they pour back into all the aloha they're getting from the channel and support and things they're doing when they're trying to direct the energy and awareness toward things. They're not just talking story. That's a big part of it, but they're immersing themselves into other people's lives and stories. And I'll witness, I'm living proof of other people's kindness that get me to this point. And I hear about, you know, certain other projects and startups. And if you ever want to donate to a good cause, find the Maui Real Estate, HawaiiRealEstate.org with Eric, because
No,
he's going around doing things.
No.
This guy, you can't
Dan-
do it by yourself. It
That's how-
takes the community, all of you guys.
That's how kind Daniel is. So his GoFundMe link is in this video, this description. So we're raising money for you, and we also have a possible side gig that we're going to maybe kick off here pretty soon with the Lahaina project that I've mentioned a little bit about. But Daniel's going to be, with the help of my personal assistant, being able to participate on that project, and we'll roll out more about that. But in the meantime, if you want to,
Sure.
if you want to help him directly, there's a GoFundMe right there, and you'll see it. And what kind of was hard for me was, like, the fire happened, and then it took sort of all my focus off of helping Daniel, you know, and it's just like he was just sort of caught out there a little bit. So I apologize. I wasn't able to put more focus on the channel towards you. But then when I found out that you were actually going to be here and you were going to have, because he was supposed to be in the Front Street Apartments, right? You had was it the unit right next to the manager's?
Yes, and next to the Maui College, learning the building there in the playground. I was right next to the on-site manager, Randy. And that's a place that I was familiar, and of course Lahaina I knew like the back of my hand. Then, you know, the fire happened, and this was after Eric had done the video up in the mountain, and the nene geese flew by, and that was a moment, you know.
It was.
That Lahaina burned down 4 days before my flight was to move into the apartment. Had the electric turned on, the lease was paid. Eric and Josh were getting the keys from the landlord in order to stage a few things, which was like a fringe benefit for whatever it is that somebody else could do to link up with a landlord. There are people working on my behalf even then. But it was unimaginable. It was so close to coming here with all the lining up of the years of
Took
applying
years,
an
right?
application, setting
Years.
up with the the resources in order to get a housing voucher, and for that timing and all the mistakes and things that happened and retardation and my incompetence and inability to sign papers and have mail appropriately delivered and received at the same time for the voucher and the housing to be available at the same time. It looked like it was dovetailing perfectly. And then the fire happened and it was just so devastating.
And you had already given your notice on your property in
Right.
Florida. You're
My lease
basically
ended 4
moved.
months before that. I received the voucher and was basically just getting generosity from the management. That was tough. And I've had to sort of beg and plead and cajole, and it's basically only been the support of the kindness, and people with Eric's channel have been 100% equal to anything else that everybody else combined has been able to do. The support of Eric's channel here on YouTube has been really the most powerful thing and another miracle, because when Eric heard the story going around asking whatever happened to the guy in the Volkswagen from over there on the alley in the industrial area in Lahaina town where all the surfboards were, and then that's the story he heard, and how just people have shed tears and people have been in disbelief, but I'm living proof that it's a real story. Behind these glasses, I have no eyes. And to hear Eric's voice on his YouTube channel going through the walks down Kanapali and the beach walk and the parking ins and outs and things of the montage, the spa area, all the things around from the North Kanapali beach and down through Black Rock, and all those descriptions have given me such a reminder of things that were familiar to me over the years, and all of those coconut palms.
Because that's what you
sounds.
did for a living, right? You trimmed coconut trees? Is that part of what you did?
Yeah, I was a guy that just filled in where it wasn't enough for a big company, and then the little things that needed to get done, and I'd call people up and offer that I could come and help them with trimming coconut palms and whatever I could do to make pretty some trees, or hang some Christmas lights, or like return something to a rental place that they needed to, whatever it was going to keep getting charged. I was just kind of a guy that never really had it. I was just an odds and ends type of guy, time and place, show up, do this is available, and I ended up getting a lot of coconut palms trimmed and was able to give the leaves to the guy on the seawall that weaves them up, makes hats, and learning that practice in the culture of Hawaii with palm weaving is, I think, everybody pretty much knows about the hats and baskets and things. And
Yeah, and you probably knew fish, right?
I recognized Fish for sure. He would come down. His name is Mick, and he'd come over down and hang out with Dave. And Mick was right there. Fish. He was in front of the Cheeseburger in
Cheeseburger in
Paradise.
Paradise, yeah.
And he had that little stump, that little nub of like pine wood or whatever stump that was there. Maybe an old power pole that was cut off, and that's where he'd post up with all his flowers and fish that were there. And nice guy, kind of reserved, quiet to himself, not big on words. Fish. And I don't know him really well, but I know Dave, Weaver Dave, who sets his Bible up and he puts out his message every day for whatever it is. A man of simplicity. I think both of those two characters, I think, live by that.
When I met
It even
you,
makes
you
sense.
used to have the parrot on your shoulder, and I
Yeah.
met you down at the 505 because that was my surf break wall,
Oh,
you know.
yeah. Social surf at Breakwall with Lico.
Exactly. And then you had your van, and I'm a big VW van guy, and you had your VW van. And then tell them what happened to your VW van, which happens to a lot of older VW vans.
Right. If I was unique in that regard, then it wouldn't be. It would be a big deal. But yeah. Okay.
Right.
So I was going up Nakalele to go spearfishing and
That's the
pulled
blowhole,
off
by the way.
to the northernmost point on Maui out there, the very northernmost tip, right on the top of the bust. The head of the West Maui Mountains up there at the top north, and the van pulled off, turned the ignition off, black smoke started going out my side air ducts, and liquid flames pouring out the bottom. And there's no reception up there for phone reception. The tourist had to turn around and call the fire department and put it out before it was even cooled down all the way. I was in the water going to get one little parrotfish. Somebody took the Volkswagen emblem off the front of it, and it was still
No way.
warm. When I got back up there, I took a picture of myself with a parrotfish with a sad face.
And someone stole the emblem.
Someone took
Right
the
after it
emblem.
burned.
Yeah, tires were all melted.
It's like
the
kicking
engine
someone when they're down. Your VW just burned, and I'm going to steal your emblem.
took 7 years of everything I could put into trying to get the brakes working little by little by little, and
And all your possessions were pretty much in the van, right?
several of them.
I mean, it's not funny, obviously, but it's just like the stories that you can tell about your life. It's just amazing how resilient. And the thing that blows my mind about you, bro, is you're so positive, And it never dawns on me when I'm talking to you or texting or calling that you are someone that's going through this horrendous challenge or this horrible, like there's so many people out there that are sighted or don't have a handicap and they're just like, piss and vinegar and kind of always upset, but you're just always so positive. So what do you, how do you, where does that come from? Where's that strength come from, man? That positivity, that overcoming.
I gotta leave room for God to have the choice, and I answer to the boss. That's what it is, really. It's that I don't have the choice. I'm too chicken to to hurt myself. I've been devastated sometimes, and it gets better. I have prayer. I try to do something nice for someone else whenever I feel terrible. I say something, and being cheerful, I think, is a way of sometimes covering up that you don't want to show certain things, but also it turns the energy around, the vibe. It sometimes you got to let things happen naturally. It just feels kind of natural for me in times, and everybody's gone through something. There are people with their friends and loved ones with addiction problems, untimely deaths and things. So sometimes what other people are going through may not seem like a big deal. You never know what somebody's going through. And for me to be spewing piss and vinegar or whatever it is, like you might say, is, it doesn't do anybody any good. And I guess maybe I am kind of resilient, but I've done a lot of
You think?
crying. I've done a lot of crying.
Yeah.
And you know, so many people. In Lahaina, especially what's going on now, everybody's doing things differently. People don't know how to do and what to do, and the ideas that come up, you can't implement them. They're a way of doing things. I'm lucky that there are agencies that are out there talking for me and advocating, and there are people like Eric that really I would be somewhere on the street having already exhausted other resources that are designed with nonprofits and in a position where I wouldn't have been able to even accept this type of situation with the temporary housing. So I'm going to need housing. This has been a real blessing. Eric has ensured that I had stability here with a soft landing, getting groceries set up and making sure that I have things I need here in the home. But this is an ongoing thing where it's because I forgot what it's like to be in the hardest place that you can be. Really, as bad as everything's been, once you get set up and comfortable, sometimes it's easy to forget that we're all susceptible to stuff getting so bad that we'll be in a panic and frantic and
Yeah.
things like that. So I'm easy to forget, and in the moment everything's good and looking like we're growing into something more, and we're optimistic about today and tomorrow.
See, is it true that you just kind of take it like one day at a time? Is that sort of is that the approach? You try not to think too much about the future, or is it?
And I think like I dwell and think.
I mean, I can't even. I mean,
I'm
just
self-conscious. I'm all the things, but then sometimes I just got to remember not to think more highly of myself than one ought to think. Um, you know, implement Romans 12 into my way of thinking. Go back to how to treat others, things in Ephesians, and what situationally to do. And I was raised in a way where keeping those things in mind, and the to allow that God's vengeance is that's who has the vengeance. It's not mine to have. The,
because this injury
the
to your
speck in
eyes
my
was
eye and all this, whatever.
because this was perpetrated by somebody else, and you don't even know who because of the amnesia during that period of time.
Yeah, I was, I can't remember exactly what happened, and I know I was subject to abuse and
And there's a lawsuit
excessive
that's
force
coming
and
too, right?
things. There's an investigation going on, and there are some suits being filed. And there's no guarantees of what can be proven, and it's a real long shot, but that you would think would be cut and dry, but that's just not the way it really is.
Would you agree that your story belongs in a headline in a big mainstream broadcast, 60 Minutes? I mean, because to me, when I heard what happened, it's like that to me is the kind of thing that the world needs to hear about, because this does not happen very often. It's not very often that someone has their eyes removed from their head and now has to deal with life and has very little resources and is not even at home. It'd be one thing if this happened to you while you're here at home on Maui, but it happened to you in a state that you didn't even live in at the time,
Right,
and had
right.
no support really. So I mean, I just encourage people to just close your eyes for the next hour and try to do anything. And now imagine that that's Daniel's reality overnight.
Yep.
And I just
Instantly with 6 months memory loss.
it's hard to even fathom how that's possible because we do everything on a phone. We do everything. It's just really, it's more, I think it's more than the average person can imagine. And the fact that you have tackled this and you're coming out of it, and I believe there's a lot more to your story, and I hear about the plans that you have for the future and the things you want to do, and it's just so cool because I think the best is yet to come, and out of all this somehow God is going to extract some amazing things from your life, you know, and I don't want to tell, really show us how to live
Yeah,
exactly.
I've got an imaginative type of mentality, and I want to create something in life where we're here. This is a rehearsal for who knows what. This is to me the way it is, and I got to come back here. There was an advocate for me in this near-death experience that I had, where here I am again with a chance to do the things I left undone while I put it on hold to go help family that was in desperate need of a savior and of a hero. So things like a skincare product, another oral hygiene thing, uh, doing things with a YouTube channel, a recipe book, songwriting and music, harvesting coconuts. I've missed coconut water so bad. Anybody thirsty? I'm ready to drink some coconut water. We're back in Maui again. Here we are,
Yes,
Maui
sir.
no Kokoi. Yes, sir. You get to hear Eric say yes, sir, right here in my ears instead of through like a phone, which is amazing that the phone and the volume and the speakers recreate our voices rather accurately. But you guys know the yes, sir. Yes, sir. My
Yes,
voice is
yes.
breaking up here a little bit, but
And I actually sent Daniel a GoPro,
it makes me smile.
and he was shooting videos the best he could, right? And he would send me back the SD cards. He still has the GoPro over there, but I think, hit me in the comments if you think Daniel deserves his own amazing YouTube channel, because this guy can rap and he can say things and explain things in ways. And it seems like, I mean, I knew you a little bit before you lost your eyesight, but it seems like now you can explain my YouTube videos better than I can see them. I mean, you'll walk me through everything that you're seeing as you listen, and it's really
Yeah, you
extraordinary.
reminded me of the places that I used to walk around and look and view. And I'm doing poetry and things these days and trying to attempt the knack for turning it into music, which is a completely different art form. But I don't know, like, you want me to say my poem?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, you guys ready? It's called Reveries of a 13th Moon. Has a little bit of a backstory. It came up on December 20th, 21st, around the solstice time and around a full moon. And a friend encouraged me when I was telling them what I miss about Maui and upcountry and avocado trees and eucalyptus trees. And they were like, wow, I love where you're dreaming. Just keep going, keep doing it. So I started with 2 lines and tried to make a poem. And it goes like this: Reveries of a 13th Moon. Maui dreaming in my mind. Pray I seek that which I find, so when I leave this life behind, I will not feel to press rewind. Keakua be our guide, nudging gently by our side, while as this walk becomes a ride, I'll have your grace and will abide. Join and ponder while I prattle, on the land of sheep and cattle, Paniolos in the saddle, Hawaii's sovereignty battle. Endless summers and honeymoons, tropical fruit, romantic swoons, waterfalls, private lagoons, and paddlers in dugout canoes. Cocoa palms whose fronds may fall to be woven on the seawall, eucalyptus trees standing tall, viewed from the ground, you'd feel so small too. Swaying high up from their boughs, I'll know not then what I know now, yet with a grain of salt I now know that it all works out somehow though. As I navigate, you steer, to be sure the coast is clear, for goats and boar and axis deer, the luxury of nature near and dear. Here we are in reverie, where mountains rise up from the seas, and lily koi vines wind up trees like guavas, mangoes, and lychees. Please share your blessings as you teach me with a lesson as you preach beneath the shade tree on the beach beside the ocean where whales breach. Keep fresh fruit, shave ice close at reach. Haupia in bottom of each. That's coconut cream in the bottom of each. See hula girls there in the sand. Their stories told with graceful hands. It's natural in Aloha land where ukes and bongos make the band. with rainbows beaming all around, to hope and joy and laughter sound, with manna from the sky and ground, where abundant life can abound. From Kihei to Lahaina town, then we retreat up to Iao. Much love to friends in Makawao, Hana Kipahulu, and Hono Kohau. Bear with me now, we almost pow. So drop in loose and ride the wave, then duck the lift into a water cave at a secret spot up at the bay, valued by all and coalition saved. Maui no ka oi. Umau ka ea oka aina ika pono. E one pa'a kako. E Hawaii. E a. Aloha.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Wow. Dude,
Thanks everyone for letting me recite and practice that.
can you even believe that?
Unbelievable. Amazing.
That's just like chicken skin the whole time,
They
bro.
told me to keep dreaming.
That's insane. So you just,
Maui no ka oi. Yeah, I kept just thinking and adding a line and adding a line.
I'm like literally speechless.
Reveries of a 13th moon.
So, well, thank you, Daniel, for sharing that. That was
My pleasure. I want to make it into a song.
That was
I need to get
amazing.
in touch with musicians.
Like literally.
John Cruz, Trevor Hall, John Kinimaka. You know the musicians.
Wow.
Howard Ahia. Any musicians want to try to get together and do something? I'm figuring this thing out.
I think you figured it out. But you're talking about the music side.
Right.
Wow.
What's the knack for combining it with music and rhythm and things and maybe a little artist touch. And
That was awesome.
there's
man.
just something to it when you can put it to rhythm and everything else. But
Yeah. That was amazing.
Awesome.
Like, seriously, that
that's
was like,
inspiration from my friends and those that believed in me and told me stories and read to me in times when I can't see and I don't know what's going on and I'm getting emotional thinking about the kind of help that I got from friends that were there. That I didn't even know how to look up my contacts in my phone, and I was figuring out and swiping around with a phone talking to me, and I don't know what it's even doing, and got a hold of names that I had forgotten that were just stuck in my contacts, or else I wouldn't even remember who they are. And little things keep reminding me along the way of things I've forgotten, while my memories keep coming back. And then I just had to write a few lines of appreciation and things, Sunsets on Maui. The only place I ever saw the green flash for a sunset was in Lahaina, right next to where fish weaves, right next to Cheeseburger. And it was real. The green flash happens. For those of you that haven't ever seen
I
it,
haven't never seen it.
the whole crowd was watching sunset. And you'd think you couldn't see it from right there at Cheeseburger because you got Lanai, you got Molokai,
Yeah.
and Oahu's off in the distance. Right between Lanai and Molokai, the sun went down, green flash happened on a clear day in Lahaina from a spot you wouldn't think you could see it. And the whole crowd gasped at the same time. That was
Wow.
awesome.
Well, dude, I am so, like, I'm still in shock and awe over your poem. That's just still resonating in my, that was like Maui magical molecules were just fluttering all around. It was amazing.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Wow, honored, super honored.
You are back. You are back. You're
I'm
back.
here. Who wants
You're
to take
back.
me to go try to get some coconuts?
Let's go, right? You're
I got to do something. Maui Dan. Ooh, you know it, right?
Hey, tell them that the
Maui
button.
Dan.
Tell them the button's right there. There's the button.
All right, I beat you to it, Eric.
Good stuff is
Thanks,
going to happen,
everyone.
bro. Seriously, I can feel it. Amazing things are coming your way. You have fought the good fight, and you're here. And I just feel like the whole universe is just conspiring, and it's all coming together. I'm just one little tiny piece of your puzzle, but I'm so excited for what's going to happen. And I want you to know, man, that the world, my Aloha Infused audience world, they love you, they support you, they're here for you.
Oh, wow.
I know they are, and I know they're going to go to your GoFundMe. They're going to do what, $5, $808, $800, whatever they can do to support you, because you are worth supporting. And you're not alone, and we're here for you. And anything that you need at any time, you just let us know, and we'll be here, like that.
Thank you. Wow, it gives me a added security net there, a little safety feeling there where I can venture out and explore and try to make moves and take risks and do the work that it takes. It's temporary and we're practicing, and that bolsters my feeling of security to be able to have strength and go for it and try.
Yeah. Well, I know you had mentioned a couple things that there's supposedly there's some kind of a special Uber or Lyft program for the sight impaired, right? If anybody knows anything about that, we'd like to have a way for Daniel to be able to go places and not have to go make his way to a bus stop somewhere and get hit by a car. So if there's a way that anyone knows anything about that, that's one of the things I want to look into as well. Because it'd be nice
Yeah.
if you can want to go somewhere, you can just go there, and we're happy to
Safe driver.
set up an Uber account for you, and just so you can get out there. And we want to get you down to the ocean. We want to get you on a surfboard or a bodyboard. And he hasn't even been to the ocean yet, but that's coming, and that's going to be a future life, hopefully, if he'll let me show your
Wow, yeah, I would love to do that. I haven't been to the salt water yet, you know,
big
that would
surfer
be
here, big surfer here.
great. You know, I'd love to do some body surfing, whatever I can do. If you guys want to see me surf, mention it in the comments. There's a assistive technology meeting that's happening at the college with FEMA that's coming up Wednesday too for anybody that might need more assistive technology. I'm hoping to attend in person and brush up on what I might not have heard about yet. I can't wait to put a little demonstration or whatever you guys need, a little music, coconut palm harvesting. I want to get some coconuts and show you guys like what can a blind guy do maybe if he has can get there. I need support to watch everything. Maybe anybody know where a low coconut palm full of good coconuts is? Because
This
Eric
guy
and I
wants
are
some
thirsty
coconuts,
for
man.
some coconut water.
And then there's technology too, right?
Been a
I'm sure
while.
there's things that you need. Like I've heard, I don't know much about this, but I'm starting to learn about it. Like there's computers that can read to you, and they're set up for people that are blind, right? There's special technology. Which you just have a phone that's like a normal person's phone. So I'm sure there's technology that's out there that we can get our hands on, so that you can be fully proficient and it reads to you. I'm sure you heard about these things, or maybe you
Sure, there's a
haven't, but
program and it's that I've heard called JAWS. I haven't been far enough along where it comes to training and the timing and the people coming from long distances to put that as a priority. That would be kind of like fun to learn Braille and JAWS programs and have a laptop that can hold the large memory that program takes. So those things are in the future, but it's been gaps in between services and one next pressing issue after another.
he was telling me
That
in
sounds like
Florida
fun
there
though,
was
yeah.
one person that was assigned to help you, and she would just or he would just show up every once in a while and try to help you, and then
Yeah,
they didn't really do much.
some like every 6 to 8 to 12 weeks, and sometimes 6 months to 9 months of not having somebody to do it. And there are three different tiers to trying to help you learn to use a cane. Some to learn orientation, more sophisticated and elegant ways of doing things. Basically, unlearning things I learned while there wasn't anybody to help me learn appropriate ways.
Because
And
literally, because a cane is hard to learn, right? That takes a long time, right? A lot of people that are blind, they learn it when they're young and they've had a whole lifetime with it. But to learn it at your age it's not easy, right? And you don't get a dog until you know how to use a cane. Is that what you told
right,
me?
there's the program too, and like that's another layer of responsibilities too. And but you're right, there is like leader dog and things, but you have to have cane training and you have to be able to basically do things without a dog before you can get a dog.
Yeah, that's what I
That's the
thought.
way
I
I've
mean,
heard and learned it.
you had told me that too. So what I'm seeing for your future for
I don't
me.
want a dog.
I know. Okay, okay. No, what I'm seeing is
It's
a
not what we're
van.
saying.
We need a van. We need a surf van, I think, and then we need a chauffeur to drive you in the surf van to the surf. Does that sound cool?
Then yeah, who knows where the swell is,
Right.
and somebody that's able to persuade the lineup that it's okay and to help understand that I may not be able to see them in my way, so I can try to catch a wave and entertain. I wonder what it would take, to and where the good place might be. What do you guys think? Like guardrails, grandmas, ukamehame, puamana. What's accessible these days, and where might it be? That storm drain between Launiopoko and Puamana,
Totally. Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they do the hydrofoiling.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you could post a couple people that are like, hey, by the way, we have a blind surfer on the peak right now. Just, I mean, I think there's totally a way to make it happen. Or on a big swell, like right now we have a big south swell right now. It's surfing 1,000 Peaks this morning, and the other waves will start to break, as you know, between Grandma's and 1,000 Peaks. And so then you just have this lone wave out there that's breaking that normally doesn't break because the swell is so big. We could pop you out on one of those and then just have assistance there. But I'm sure once you popped up on the wave, you'd be fine.
I love to
Knowing
feel it
that there's
again.
nobody out there, knowing that you're not gonna have to navigate. You just feel the wave.
Right, if that would be okay and it's clear, I would feel real insecure about hitting somebody else.
Right.
But I'm willing to get out there and try it. But we'll check my energy level and go do it, and I'll be very happy to try to ride a wave and feel that glide, the slide and glide
Feel the
feeling.
lift.
Get a glider,
Feel the,
slider right down the line.
feel the drop.
I don't know about the drop, but
That's
feeling
good.
the wave, night surfing, how it can be, and sometimes like the moonbeams off of the face of the wave curl, and it gives an optical, which makes it almost confusing because you can see. Maybe it'll be like that sunset session you had there when everybody's getting out because it's dark, and you're like,
And you stay.
you haven't gotten all the waves
Yeah.
because everybody else keeps getting them, and there you go, you're having almost to yourself, but it's just getting dark,
You
and
just gotta feel your way on the wave. Yeah.
you're sometimes paddling in when it's still dark because it's getting so dark, and then the wave catches you. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh, it takes you all the way in.
Like the wave, it almost like you didn't know it was going to happen, but you felt it starting to happen, and you can't really see. It's not the same thing, and you just like feel it happen.
Yeah.
It's almost like
And you know when you gotta sink the tail so you don't get pearled. Yeah, it's gonna happen, dude. We're gonna get you out there.
backwards takeoff, helicopter.
Maybe we just start with
somersault
some.
to the nose, 1 foot style move or something on the nose, with like a bottle of honey that I'm squirting into my mouth, riding down the line.
Well, I'm getting excited for your future, man. I'm glad I hopefully can document some of it and share it with the world and help you getting maybe a little studio set up in here and get your own channel going and whatever it is you want to do, man. I think the world is your oyster, and I think it's all a community that's going to come together and support you, and I think you're going to be like world famous. I really do. Not that you
And
want
you're
that.
invited
Not that you
to.
want that. I'm just saying that's
Yeah,
what
if
that's.
I have to be famous to get this done, we have to do what we need to
Right,
do. That's
yeah.
okay.
I know you're not looking for fame, but I just think you've got such an amazing way of explaining things, and you got that gift of gab, you got that ability to talk, and it almost seems like it's concentrated. It's like a
I feel short of words. But in life, if we can live in our passion, and there are a few things that I want to leave, when I leave this life behind, I don't want to press rewind. I want to have something that is meaningful, that I felt like this is something I experienced, and to share how it was, with a product that I want to design, some sort of branding, and do something creative, provide entertainment for others, a good, healthy distraction. And that's the kind of thing that I want to have on my bucket list. Say when you put your life on hold and you go do what is necessary, and the things I was stuck in the hospital for 8 weeks, and I was like, the things I didn't do, and the only thing I recognized about myself at first was the feeling of my teeth with my tongue. It's the only way I even knew I was me. I was like, okay, that doesn't feel like me. My body was all bloated, and my teeth felt like my teeth.
Wow.
And then, so I kind of, well, I'm still me.
And you did not know what happened to you. You literally
Oh,
woke
yeah.
up in a hospital bed.
I thought Boomer drowned me at Honolulu Bay for not wanting him to kick me off the peak out of coconuts.
Are you serious?
But we broke ground after 15 years, and he was like, just stay at the point already. I was like, that's progress. Stay at the point, okay, with the kids and the girls, okay. You got it, boss. But then I thought he took me as being kind of wise, and then I was like, did he drown me? Because that's the first memory I had.
Wow. Are you serious?
Was
At the
right
bay.
before COVID. It was one of the last swells before I went back to the mainland to help my family. My granddaddy had a stroke. It was COVID. I almost didn't go, and navigated through that. That's not a really warm welcome when you come through West Coast and all the way through the airlines and whatever, with the scare of COVID and people's with that whooping cough sound and all the way through. You get to your family where somebody's already elderly and they don't want to give you a hug. It already feels like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And that's when it all got worse and worse and more stressful and more to do than could possibly be done. And I obsessed. Gotta groom the thoughts. We have to groom our thoughts.
No.
Get the rest, and don't take it to an extreme level, obsessing, because I don't even remember everything that can happen. But
And someday we'll go back and
I
tell.
didn't drown in Honolulu Bay.
Right.
So,
Someday we'll go back and have Daniel tell his story, the whole thing, because obviously we've only given you like little pieces of it in this little talk. We were only going to do like a 5-minute live here, but we've just kept flowing, like I kind of thought we would. But someday we'll let him. You'll have a chance to tell your story if you want, all the way back to what happened in Florida. But for now, I think
Wow.
this is probably a good place to just say aloha and thank everybody for tuning in. We really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you for showing as much aloha as you can to Daniel. And if you have anything you want to say to him, comments, I'm sure people are going to want your address so they can mail you stuff. I can feel it coming already. So if it's okay with you, you let me know at some point if you want me to share your mailing address or P.O. box. But
Yes, perhaps that's something that can be worked out.
yeah, I can feel a wave of support coming, so get ready. Most of the time what we'll do is we'll have like a Venmo or a PayPal, but I know you don't have those apps. I know hopefully you'll get them now that we're here and we can actually help you. But for now there is a GoFundMe that's run by his friend Josh, who's been a lifeline, right? A major shout out to Josh for everything that he's done.
That's the network that even got you involved, Eric. You know, that way through through the grapevine and the Coconut Wireless. There you got in touch with Josh.
Well, you know what happened to
He's
me
been a
is
good
I
friend.
went to
It's been really helpful.
the pawn shop, and I was in the pawn shop. Someone, this is how weird it is. Ready? Someone broke into my truck and stole the Rolex my dad gave me, amongst a lot of other things. I'm just now remembering this. I went. Someone told me because the cops didn't do nothing. Someone said go to every pawn shop and tell them what your Rolex is. Give them the serial number, and then if it comes in, they can, you know, maybe help you get it back. So I went to the pawn shop right by your van, right? And so I'm in there talking to the guy about my Rolex, and I'm like, hey, by the way, how's Daniel doing? And that's when he tells me, he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I heard this crazy story. Like something happened to him. He went to Florida to help his grandparents, and somehow like his eyes got ripped out of his head. And I'm like, excuse me? His what? Like
Doesn't sound real.
like in
Right?
a million years, you're like, his eyes were removed from his head. What are you talking about? And he's alive,
As I like shrink over here.
but he's blind. What are you talking about? And he had no more information. The only thing is what I just told you. He said, and so of course I went to Google and I put in Daniel Maui blind GoFundMe because he told me you had a GoFundMe page. And so that's how I met Josh.
Wow.
But it's because someone stole my Rolex that I was even in that pawn shop. And then that's right where your van used to be. And so I asked this dude, hey, how's Daniel? I haven't seen him in a while. Because, you know, the pawn shop just burned, remember?
Oh, the Heinel Industrial.
So he moved
Fire's
over.
been following me around. It's like I've been paranoid, and I'm like,
We just set up his fire extinguisher over here by the kitchen sink. So use it if anything happens, okay?
sure, yeah. What would I do with it? Like, I
Aim
don't
it
know,
towards the
hope to-
heat.
hope to open a barricaded door so I could get to safety.
Yeah,
Because
run.
so I could try to feel my way to get as much distance between myself and the fire as possible. That's the idea.
Well, hey, any last words you have for the most aloha infused audience on
I
planet Earth?
wish I had the Maui fix for you. What should I do? We got super shakas, we got micro shakas.
You have your amazing poem that you recited. I wish, can someone like go back and write that whole thing down and like send us? Do you have it written down?
No.
Of course not. Yeah, that's just all from your soul.
Yes.
Wow.
That's all remembered. I've had
That's
to
amazing.
remember different sequences of numbers and things. I guess being blind has forced me to try to practice with my memory of things, which isn't very good. And you need to have a photographic memory, really, if you're going to be blind. But
Yeah, like when we were putting Daniel's food away,
a
he said,
practice.
I have to put away everything in its spot and I have to know what it is. So later on, I have to go back to that spot and he knows what it is that's in that spot. So we took us, a couple hours or so to put the groceries away because every single item, and that's part of that photographic memory, is you now have to remember, oh yeah, the coriander, is that what it's called? What did you introduce me to?
the cardamom.
Cardamom, yes, thank you. The cardamom. I'd never heard of, maybe I heard of it, but
I was
this
thinking
guy,
of doing a drink with it too. Call it like the 3 or 4 seasons.
Uh-huh.
Cardamom, coconut oil or coconut milk, cinnamon. Maybe you might not put coriander, but you put a little like cayenne, and make a whole drink. And I even had like 6 or 7 different things that started with C. And like 7 seasons, but C is in quotations.
yeah,
But yeah,
season, that's good.
cardamom is it's one of those spices, little seed spice. It goes nice and
Yeah.
like your chai and Christmas spice sometimes.
So Daniel's a big
Beautiful
cook. He
smell.
needs all these spices because he makes all this cool stuff. He's making kombucha. He does all kinds of.
No looking cooking.
Yeah, what's the name of your channel?
Well, it's my name, Daniel Bennett, at the Blind Guy's Kitchen.
The
I'd
Blind
like it
Guy's
to be
Kitchen.
a Blind Guy's Kitchen. And I do food prep things, sourdough bread, cheesecakes, different preps in order of operations, ferments, and things you can do to extend whatever you'd already prepped, and how you can, organize what it is you're doing in the kitchen sometimes, which I'm not very organized, and food prep takes my energy and concentration. It's been good for my mind and memory and doing things too, but yeah, the no looking cooking. I always challenge everybody that if it's too easy that you think whatever I'm doing is, just do it with your eyes closed.
Yeah, there you go. You want a new challenge? Yeah, go cook dinner tonight with your eyes closed.
And
Yeah,
open
good.
them when you're done and see how good it looks and enjoy how it tastes. And
Yeah, he cut a pineapple for us earlier, and I watched it, and I was like, "Hey, you did a pretty good job, man. That's pretty amazing. It's skill." So.
with a knife I used for the first time, in a cutting board and a tray that you thoughtfully provided so that I could do such. And the pineapple. Wow, where would I be? This guy really does do what he's intending and says to do. Eric is an angel in my life, and you might think you don't shortchange Eric on how much gratitude he deserves. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You and your channel and turning people on to helping the GoFundMe for me and the other people. You do homeless outreach and things. I know other people benefit from your hard work and curiosity in the story. I mean, from the different interviews that you do, everybody, he's really doing God's work the way it is that you would think. How it's unbelievable, really, how unselfish Eric is and doing things to help people. And whatever it is, his resources, he's staying in his lane. He wants to sell some real estate, help him sell some real estate. That's what he wants to do. And he starts to get into like another handful of things to help other people. He's really got it. He's got a good program worked out where he's doing what he said. He actually gets out there and does the help. He's not just thinking what other people can do, like an ideas guy. He's trying things and putting effort in. So that bravo, Eric,
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate
go.
that. I appreciate that. Well, I love you, Daniel.
Really
I'm
cool.
glad that you
Love
were
you
back
too,
on Maui.
brother.
Much aloha, my friend.
Thank you, man.
Yep, I'm so
Beautiful.
glad you're back, and we're going to do some cool stuff together, and I can't wait to be there for your first wave and a lot of other firsts. The first coconut, the first sip of coconut, and hopefully he'll allow me to bring a lot of these moments to you guys on the channel. Hopefully, if you do anything, you'll click the link in the description and send him a little bit of that aloha as well. And if you can't do that, a comment, anything, a prayer,
Yeah,
a prayer,
suggestions, prayers.
prayers.
Think happy thoughts and clap your hands. The idea is maybe an idea for something that a blind guy could do, because a suggestion for something you'd like to see a blind guy do. I don't know, ride a pogo stick, a unicycle, like I don't know, what is it that I can do, you know?
I see a lot of YouTube gold ideas there, but I'm concerned for your safety a little bit. So.
Right?
But hey, man, if you want to send it, you know, we're here, we're ready. It's funny.
You know, I used to do handstands on somebody else's hands, but you know that, like, what is it going to be today? Where are we today? So
Yeah.
really appreciate the company and stopping by, and thanks for joining us over here.
Yep. Thanks, guys. We appreciate your time and attention. Of course, your aloha. Be sure to tune in again next time. We're with Daniel, and thank you so much for helping any way that you can. And we're gonna ask Maui Dan, where's the button? And you
Where's the button?
where's the button? You're gonna push the button. You ready? Here we go. Daniel's gonna push the button. Love you guys. Much aloha.
All right.
All right.